Now let's dive into Smaart. I just booted Smaart up and I was given this window here, select configuration. Now this is if you're opening Smaart for the very first time, you may not see this window. You might see a window that instead says, hey, no configurations exist at all, and just step through that and select your interfaces as I'm about to do. If you see this window, select create a new configuration. We always want to start with the new configuration when we use Smaart. It trains us to know the program better, and it also kind of clears out some issues that you may have if you start with a current configuration or an existing configuration. So please don't be tempted to click this do not show me this again button. We do not want to hide it. Now, if you did do that and you can't get this window on start, I did put instructions on how to reset Smaart so this window pops up again in the instructions, but I'm not going to demonstrate them now. So let's hit OK. And if you did start from very, very scratch, you will end up on this. Like if you just booted Smaart for the very first time, you will see this window, and I'm seeing this window. And what we're going to do here is select the audio drivers that we are going to use in our system. And as you can see in my computer, I have quite a few to choose from. I'm going to be using the Octacapture, and that if you have your audio interface, you're going to want to select that. And I'm actually going to disable all of my inputs 3 through 8 on this thing, because I'm going to use them, and this is going to be more like your system, which probably has a 2-channel interface. We're also going to select the built-in microphone because we're going to use that in part of this lab. And in fact, I only need one input of the built-in microphone, so I'm going to turn that on. So hit OK. And it's running now. It's a bit small, so I'm going to enlarge the screen. And we are in spectra mode. And if I click on spectra mode, see that it says spectrum mode here. This is the single channel interface. Over here on the left we have the data bar. This is where stored traces are going to be. In the middle here is where we're going to see all the traces and all the data. And over here on the right we've got the control bar, and these 3 colored things here, these are our measurements, and Smaart automatically made these measurements. And so we're going to want to start. The first step of this lab is really to create a trace of the internal microphone to kind of get that going. So we're going to go into config, measurement config, and we were just here a moment ago. We were on this tab. Now we're going to be on this tab. And you can see what these actual measurements are. They're under this tab called default tab. And the internal microphone ended up in there. I'm going to delete that for a moment. I'm going to edit this. I'm going to hit delete that guy. And these two are my two measurements for my Octacapture, input 1 and input 2. I'm going to rename this. The instructions tell me to do this. I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to name it Octacapture. And now I'm going to hit return. That's how you save something in Smaart. And now I'm going to make a new tab. And the new tab is going to be built-in mic. And below that, I want to actually make a spectrum measurement. So I'm going to say new spectrum measurement, and I'm going to say input 1 of the built-in mic, cool, mic, and hit OK. And now you see I've got 2 tabs, one for the Octacapture and one for the built-in mic. And by the way, here's all your preferences here if you were to mess with them, but we're not there yet. I'm going to hit OK. And how these tabs manifest in the program is I now have tabs up here. I've got my Octacapture with its 2 inputs and the built-in mic with 1. You can also change tabs here. So we are in spectrum mode. And I want to look at the instructions here to make sure I didn't forget anything. I think we're pretty good. Let's press play on the microphone. Now, this play right here, let me go back and change tabs here. On the Octacapture, if you press play, it will play both measurements or stop both measurements. I'm usually controlling my measurements. In this case, this button here will also just play one. Let me go back to the Octacapture. Note how you can play just one measurement or turn it off. So back to built-in mic, and this is our goal. Press play, and you can see my built-in mic as an RTA. Now you're going to want to play with this. You're going to want to play with the banding, you know, how it looks. You can change averaging to make it slower. You know, there's all kinds of things here you're going to want to play with. as you as necessary. So let's store this trace. I'm going to hit spacebar. It's the same as capture down here. Capture a trace. And we're going to name it. And the instructions are very clear about how to name it. Your name, Mike. So it's going to be Eric.Mike. And boom. It now shows up over here. And I can hide it or view it. And this important thing is whatever's selected will be in the front here. Note if I go back over here and click the measurement's in front, or the stored traces in front. Okay? Now my cat's meowing. Let's see if we can finish up this video. Let's hit the dual pane button down here. And now we have opened up the spectrograph. Now it can't actually see the spectrograph right now. And the reason is I think I need to just... What's going on with the spectrograph? It should be working. There it is. I just had to select the measurement and the spectrograph. So, cool. We got the spectrograph going. Now, the last thing we need to do here in order to get credit is take a screenshot of this entire screen, and you're going to want to name it your name.spectrum. So what I want to see is the live RTA, the stored trace behind it, and the spectrogram. So please make a screenshot of this. Excellent. End of the second video.